Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back once again. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox. We're going live from Brooklyn, New York, the Windsor Terrace section. What up, Windsor Terrace? Windy T. Before I introduce my guest today, I want to give you the message of the week. This comes from a gentleman I've quoted often here on the show. He's a business personality. He does all kinds of videos and speeches and such, but he did a really famous TED Talk back in 2010, I think, and it had a big impact on me. Someone shared it with me about a year ago, kind of changed my life. His name is Simon Sinek, and he is known for saying, know your why. And this quote in particular made me think strongly about my guest and what she's doing in her community. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. With that, we're going to take the virtual bridge and tunnel known as Zoom all the way to Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Today, I have a very special guest. She's a real estate agent in her community, but she's also done a bunch of other really great things lately, especially during this pandemic to help small businesses in her community. She's taken to IG, to Instagram Live, done live streams almost daily. And the ethos of what she's doing is very similar to the ethos for why this show was started. With that, I would like to introduce Liz Novello. Liz, are you here with us?
I am. First of all, thank you so much, Jeremiah, for that kind introduction and just kind of connecting, especially during this pandemic. It's so nice to see somebody and to take a shower. You gave me an excuse to take a shower and blow out my hair today. So thank you for that.
That's awesome. Good. I try to be a good finder. I always try to be a good finder.
Love it.
That's awesome. How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
All right. So you're in the Basking Ridge section in New Jersey, which is close, right? You're just like 20, 30 minutes across the
We're about an hour from the city.
Oh, okay. All right.
And yeah, I'm in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. We've been here 14 years. I love it. I was born in Queens when my parents and older brother immigrated from Russia. And then they moved to Jersey, and I've been a Jersey girl ever since. So
awesome. Very cool. And you were a school teacher prior to that, correct?
I was. I was a first grade teacher before having my kids. And don't be confused. Just because if you were a former teacher does not give you the ability to homeschool your kids during this pandemic. I literally am like, I can't wait when my kids go back to school. If they go back to school, I need to make sure that my son's fourth grade gets a generous gift. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. My wife is a middle and high school math director here in the city, and yeah, it's been crazy. Like, she's trying to teach, and then we've got two trying to take class, and then a little one that's just like, roaming. I'm gonna steal everybody's show, and then daddy leaves and goes to work and does radio shows.
I love it.
Like that. So can you give us a little, I've had a number of guests on the show lately that were remote. I mean, we have to these days. Prior, it was always done in Midtown, and I always had a live guest, so kind of required that you be in New York City. But I've had guests from Michigan, from Ohio, from Los Angeles. And I always ask everybody to kind of give the listeners a little view of what it's like but for like the business scene, especially. I mean, New Jersey and New York were the hardest hit states in the U.S. for this. And I've told people a lot about what's happening here in Brooklyn, and I think the media is doing a really they've put that kind of forefront what the scene is like here in New York City. But what about in New Jersey? You're pretty close. What is the business scene like there right now?
Well, I can tell you that prior to the offset of New Jersey feeling the pandemic, my husband works at Hudson Yards, and his building had closed 2 days prior. So I was starting to think, like, this is really serious if my husband's home. And then we got hit. We're always like, I think a day maybe in the lag of you guys, setting the tone, and then New Jersey follows really quickly. I service a lot of the areas of Short Hills, Maplewood, Summit, a lot of those train towns direct to the city. So a lot of families or people looking for bigger space, more land than the city, reach out to us that way. So Yeah, it's been very interesting. The first few weeks were really definitely quiet. I think everybody was super on alert, not sure where this was taking us. I think the unknown was loud and clear for everybody in the world, especially for us in New York City and New Jersey. Um, Agents that I'm friends with, I was working on a deal. My clients literally were closing during the pandemic and had to commute, had to travel from Florida all the way to New Jersey, and no longer were going to fly. Took a car, had their dog and two small kids under the age of 4. So I reached out to that agent and I said, go now to the grocery store, every store you can, and get toilet paper, get hand sanitizer. So they were all my agent friends in different states were not feeling it the way we felt it here in the tri-state. So it was really, really quiet, but I can tell you now in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I literally don't know. My days just go on forever. I've been busier than ever. My current clients that I was on the phone with this morning are from New York City, who escaped the city and are in upstate New York with their parent in-laws. My second clients are from Fort Lee. People are ready to move to Jersey. And well, Fort Lee's in Jersey, but you know what I mean? Like everybody's trying to commute out and to get more land or to have more space right now, because this time feels more in depth than ever. And with the idea that the pandemic can linger and be here in the fall, I think a lot of people who have teeter-tottered on the idea of moving to the suburbs are going to move to the suburbs.
I agree. And you kind of brought it to my attention first with a post you did about a week ago. And since then, I've seen a dozen articles from, real estate agents in Connecticut, upstate, New Jersey, but even all the way down to Florida. And they're just like, this is happening. This is like each agency was reporting hundreds of inquiries a week for people leaving Manhattan and just the 5 boroughs, not so much Staten Island, but definitely the 5 boroughs, and like getting out of here, not messing with it, whether they were young or old.
Yeah, Jeremiah, I had the best start of my career. I'm in my 3rd year, and I was closing like these deals that I've been working on for a little while. Now it just feels like the whole business has really shifted. It's going to be a completely different business. First-time home buyers that may not even have considered moving to the suburbs or to a house are now like, okay, let's see how much money we have and can we get pre-approved and move? How fast can you move us? The questions now for me, making appointments for my clients have been more or less reaching out to agents and finding out how fast do their clients have a place to move, because my clients want to move now, like 30, 60 days tops. So it's a different feel of real estate. What's happening around my town, what I love about Basking Ridge is we're in country-esque kind of feel, but yet have the ability to hit the city and, local shops and things like that. It's been super quiet. And what really propelled me to start doing these these Instagram lives was that I need to give a platform. I have a nice and generous platform of over 40,000 people. And so I was thinking that this was my chance. This is an idea that is not new. My brother, Gary Vaynerchuk, has been a proponent of becoming the digital mayor of your town for many, many years, even before I got into the real estate game. And I'm just trying to share. It feels good for me, but even 1 sale, 5 sales, 6 sales for these small businesses means so much to them.
Yeah, exactly. And you do something that I just learned that real estate agents do. Like before, I just thought you guys sold homes. That was it. And once I started the show, I also started, I'm sitting in my restaurant right now in Brooklyn, but I started to host little roundtables here, like once a month, maybe twice a month, where I'd invite 6 to 8 people from different industries. And real estate people's kind of started to land on my radar. And I'm like, you guys are different. You do something different. First of all, your depth of knowledge into personal brand is like far beyond most other business people. You have to have super resilient skin intact because you're selling somebody else's property. Like I sell food that I make, or at my wine store I sell wine that we hand select, but you have to sell somebody else's home. It's just insane. But what I really was turned on to was your involvement in the community and the role you play in the community. I was completely ignorant to that before. And just, I'd say in the last 6 months, I really, like, the veil was lifted off my eyes, and I've been so impressed. And I've really taken to the streets and had real estate agents on my show, and just I'm in constant contact. Yeah. A couple came by the other day that work right here in my neighborhood, and they're really heavy players around here. And I just love to sit and hold court with them because they always just open my eyes to something new. And when I saw what you were doing, I was just like, man, that's it. This is it. It was so fantastic. It really touched me. It's amazing.
Well, if you think about it, for me, I think you can only sell what you're passionate about. Or if people don't, I feel bad. I've been in a position where I had to sell something that I wasn't passionate about, and I didn't stay for long. Right. I really love where I live. I really love New Jersey. I really love people. I really love helping. And I love the feeling of home. My mom has always made it special, from whether it was, when they immigrated and we lived in a small condo to where they're living now. My mom has always made our home special and feel safe. And I really want to give that to people, whether it be a condo. I sold a condo in the same week I sold $1 million house in Maplewood.
Right.
So I believe everybody deserves to feel safe and secure and happy in their home.
Well, and that's why I chose that particular quote for this week, because I've gotten it with the real estate agents that I've become friends with, but watching what you're doing and the time you're dedicating to it, like, you make no money off of that. And it's a lot of work. I mean, and you're banging them out. I do once a week. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's doing it again and again. And it's like, that only comes from passion. And it's so obvious you care about your community so much. And it's something I've really tried to do here, where when we started the show, first of all, just because I had never done a show before, this was all brand new to me, I brought on people that I knew that I'd say over the last few years, the only people I sit and talk with and hang out with are mainly business owners, because once you get into that, that's what you do, And so I brought people that I knew on, that I could talk with for an hour with ease, without, if I fell, they would pick me up, but it ended up being a lot of, like, mainly Brooklyn people, but a lot of people specifically from my neighborhood. But there's so many really great companies coming out right now, and people that are even launching right now. I think in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing people that are trying to launch right now. They're like at ground zero and trying to pick it up. And they have so much to offer. There's so much great stuff out there that just doesn't have the springboard or the platform. And I think it's fascinating what you're doing. It's really an inspiration.
You know what you just said, people that are trying to launch ground zero. I actually think that we're all at ground zero. Nothing will ever be the same after this. The way that my kids are on 900 Zooms a week, plus my Zooms, we are learning different styles. I think business is going to be conducted very differently. And so I would say that a lot of people are feeling that they're at ground zero right now.
Yeah. I mean, it feels the same to me, but I love a good shakeup. I love when things get mixed up.
That's awesome.
I realized recently, I used to think I liked chaos. I was attracted to chaos because I've spent my life in crazy retail and restaurants, and I studied music. That was like my gig before this. I was a freelance drummer, and I love free jazz. So I always thought I loved the chaos. And my martial arts instructor pointed out to me recently, he was like, you actually like order. That's why you chase the chaos, because you love to make order out of things. He's like, I've noticed over the few years of working with you, once you have order, you get bored and you go find more chaos. So for me, go ahead.
Isn't that what's so beautiful? I guess I would classify myself as order too, that like you can change and evolve, and we do. Yeah. And just the idea that you have, and I have myself, I feel like it's amazing that we get to do that. And I think it's what keeps us passionate about what we do.
Big time. Because if I get bored, it's obvious. You lose a little of that passion. So for me, this is super exciting. I mean, it's terrible the way it played out. It's tragic, the amount of lives that are lost, and the amount of good businesses that will go down. you know, and not rebound from this. But again, I'm always trying to be a good finder. You know, the pressure was on for me and my family, like our businesses need to survive, or, you know, I'd work it out, but still there was no throwing in the towel. So it's exciting for me. All right, we're going to take a short break, Liz. We'll be back in about 1 minute.
Great.
I'll see you soon. See you soon, everybody. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.